you can put pineapple on pizza.
Yeah.
I give you a good news. You can put pineapple on pizza. But how? For me, personal opinion, if you put you take from the can a sliced pineapple, you put on top of a pizza margherita, this is wrong. But I have a reason. It's not just a preconcept. It's wrong. It's putting acidity on top of acidity.
Okay.
It doesn't match. My palate doesn't recognize it. But if you take a white pizza baked with a fresh cheese, you make a smoked pineapple jam, you put a beautiful salumi, maybe a culatello or prosciutto on top, it's going to be delicious. Trust me.
I'm thinking about it, and I can almost taste it.
Have you decided what you're going to get?
Oh, yeah, definitely we're going to get one of each.
One of each. Got it.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of One of Each. This is a space where I bring friends, people who I admire, and we talk about a common theme that we feel passionate about, which is food. We share experiences, anecdotes, and a little bit of stories. So welcome to another episode of One of Each. And remember, subscribe on YouTube. Follow us on social media. We're on Instagram, on TikTok. Like every content that you see that you like. If you like it, just make sure we notice. And again, thank you for the support. It's been amazing so far. So we appreciate your continued support and following. And today I have here a good friend. I don't know how many years it's been since we met the first time in Italy. It's an honor to have you here, Bernardo Paladini. Again, good friend. You are running now Torno Subito in Miami, opened a couple of months ago probably, but you've been in Miami a bit more than a year now. And thank you for coming. It's a pleasure to have you here, Bernardo, and welcome to One of Each.
Ciao Nidal, ciao everybody. It's a pleasure and an honor for me.
No, great. I don't know where to start because we are friends for many years. We met in Modena while you were at Osteria Francescana. You've been after that in Francescana, Torno Subito Dubai, now Torno Subito Miami. We've had amazing meals together. We played football together. And I think you kicked our ass when that game in Modena at 3 a.m. in the morning. Were you?
I think so.
Yes,
I scored a couple of goals.
Yeah, exactly. So again, it's a pleasure to have you here. And I wanted to start. I admire a lot Italian culture, like food-wise. I think it's very similar of how I grew up. I grew up in a Lebanese family where food was super important. My mother is an amazing cook. My father gave a lot of importance to the space of being together at the table. And every time we talk about Italian culture, it ends up talking about la nonna and the food and everything. Was that your case when you grew up? I understand you grew up in Rome, no?
Of course. I grew up in Rome. My dad is a journalist, my mom a teacher. So for me, there was no chance that Bernardo will become a doctor or a lawyer or an architecture. It was not planned for me to be a chef, even if, like every single Italian family, food is really important and part of our DNA. When we are having lunch, we discuss about what cooking for dinner.
Exactly. And how did that bug of cooking start for you? If none, like your father or your mom were not in the food industry.
So, being my mom and my dad very busy with work, I was always, when I was 11, 12 years old, going home, preparing my lunch by myself, so challenging and trying different things. But I did the classical study. I started economy in the university. But was not for me.
Okay.
Was not for me. I wanted to do something else, something which I can, express myself.
Mm-hmm.
So I quit university. All my family was against me, except someone that was really supporting, which is my dad. Then he told me, find something that you like, find a passion, I'm going to support you. So
And you were not good enough in football because otherwise you would be playing for Roma. No?
correct. But then we decide, culinary, and he find for me a gastronomic school and also a small trattoria in the center of Rome where to start.
Nice.
I remember I was me, the chef, and two guys from Bangladesh.
How
A very
old-
small restaurant.
How old were you?
I was 19 years
Wow.
old. Yeah, I didn't start that early, but quitting university, that was the time. And then I was in this restaurant, loving what I was doing, feeling myself,
And the restaurant was like classic Italian,
a classic
Romano.
Sicilian trattoria
Okay.
in Rome. Yeah. And I remember one day the chef came in the kitchen and said, we have my friend eating. He has 1 Michelin star at Fleming, that is a area in Rome. And I said, wow. So the day after, I said to the chef, I was working for free in this restaurant, and I said, can you call your friend with 1 Michelin star? I would like to go there and learn. So the next week I was there.
Nice.
Long story short, in 3 years, I became the sous-chef of Acqualina, this restaurant with 1 Michelin star. And I had everything. I was 21 years old. I had everything a guy can desire. A good job, good position, a good restaurant, living with my friend, my family.
Working, making money with doing what you love, what you enjoy.
Exactly. Imagine 21 years old. But then I wanted to challenge myself. I said, who's the best chef in Italy? What's the best restaurant? I was not planned to move from Rome in Modena. I wanted to see if I can do that,
Okay.
if I'm able to work in such a great restaurant like that. But it was not easy to go
Of
go
course.
in. I remember I sent a couple of emails and said, sorry, Bernardo, we have 2,000 people in a waiting list. Oh, wow, this is going to be hard. So, sometimes you need to find different way. You don't need to stop yourself a negative email.
Absolutely.
So this is the first time I'm telling, but the way I got into Osteria Francescana was through a school.
Okay.
Because my friend was the owner of a gastronomic school. And one day he called me and he said, this is a great day. Our best student is going to have an internship in Osteria Francescana. For our school, it's a great day. And I told him, I'm going to be the student. So I started in Francescana like a student from a school which I never went, but that was my way to enter.
Amazing.
And
What year was that?
it was 2011.
Okay.
Yes.
And I guess that was the time Davide, Yogi were there, Taka, or not yet?
That was incredible. There were 11 people in the kitchen when I started. Now they are 48. Imagine.
Wow. Unbelievable.
And Yogi, Taka, Davide, Vince, all these chefs that now have their own
old
restaurant.
school Osteria gang.
Yeah, in the best moment, it was a restaurant. Okay, now Osteria Francescana, everyone knows. At that time, there was a dream. Being part of the team for me in that moment was like incredible.
And at the time, Osteria had 2 stars.
They just took the third one, yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, and here I am 14 years later.
Amazing. Oh, it says, I mean, you say it easily, 14 years, but you have to see how many things you go through or what happens in 14 years. But the good news is that we're gonna talk about it. I have here a little cheat list of things that I don't want to forget to ask you. So when you started in Osteria, of course, Massimo was a strong figure in the Italian culinary scene. He wasn't the media guy, the super famous guy that he is today, but I imagine working for him, that was arguably the best restaurant in Italy at the time. How much pressure did you feel in order to do a good job with your peers? I mean, we just mentioned some names, but for those of you who don't know, like this, I mean, everybody that you mentioned is a master of his art. Davide, Taka, Yogi, Jessica, Vince. I mean, you name them. It was like being playing with the Lakers or the Celtics or Juventus, if I can argue Roma, no? How did you feel in that environment?
No, because still for me, it's hard to believe it when I go back with my memories on that years. There was pressure, but it was a good pressure. There was the desire to be the number one, to leave a mark in the gastronomy, and to make the restaurant famous. If I look back and I think about 2016, 2018, Osteria Francescana name best restaurant in the world. Yeah, it's like win the Champions League as a midfielder of a great team.
Yeah, exactly. That's nice. But then from there, how many years did you stay at Osteria?
So I was kind of a jolly because Massimo liked to send me around to take care of different projects. I remember the Franceschetta. There was this kind of reopen of the bistro of Osteria Francescana.
So
Franceschetta.
Franceschetta existed, but then you took over the operation of Franceschetta, no?
Exactly. Basically, Osteria Francescana started to be fully booked every day. So the people that couldn't find a place in Francescana was booking Franceschetta. At that moment, Massimo decided, to put big energies in there.
And you opened that restaurant, and then Vince joined, no?
Exactly.
And I remember, sorry to interrupt, but Franceschetta, for those of you who don't know, and this happens a lot in cities that have amazing restaurants, but Modena is a beautiful small town, but people travel from all over the world to go eat at Osteria Francescana, but you might end up staying 2-3 days in Modena, and then you need to give those people like, okay, where else can I go? So a lot of chefs, I think it's a great move, it's a smart move, open maybe more casual, more accessible restaurants where, I go one day for dinner at Osteria Francescana, but then I can go for lunch at a more casual place. And I think Franceschetta serve that purpose, no?
Absolutely, 100%. It was the spin-off of Osteria Francescana, much more accessible, but with the same attitude, the same mentality, the same ingredient.
Delicious.
And right now, there's not just Franceschetta, but there's Cavallino, there's Casa Maria Luigi.
No.
It's incredible one now.
But at the time, that was like the second
choice
restaurant for Osteria Francescana. And so you opened or reopened Franceschetta. Were you with Vince at the time, or he joined later?
He joined later when there was the project to open in Dubai. So Vince was chosen as the next chef of Franceschetta, and we had like a few months of handover.
And how was your approach for the menu at Franceschetta? Because you had to do a menu that was more accessible. The price was, it was a bit cheaper than Osteria Francescana, but how was your approach? Because you mentioned that it's the same philosophy in terms of quality, in terms of finesse, but of course the menu was more accessible.
Yeah, no, actually, it was a great experience because I remember I went with Massimo to the lawyer, and he registered my name as the one responsible not just to preparing food, but managing people, paying the salary, managing all the expenses of the restaurant. So for me, that was the real challenge, to understand that a good chef is not just the one that can cook a delicious food, but a contemporary chef, a modern chef, is the one that is able to manage expenses, to manage food costs, to manage people, most important.
Yes. And how did you learn that? Did you learn that in your past experience in Rome and while
I think
working at
Franceschetta
Osteria?
was for me, together with the opening in Dubai, the real university that I never went, because really, when you have to manage all the expenses, everything related to numbers is different than cooking food.
Because I was reading, now that you mentioned that, I was reading an interview they did to you for Gastromasa in Turkey, and they were asking you if you were thinking that you would open your own restaurant in the future. And your response was, eventually, but I feel like Osteria Francescana was my restaurant, or Torno Subito is my restaurant. Like, did you have that freedom or level of responsibility that it felt like your restaurant, you mentioned that you not only cook, you manage staff and inventory and purchasing. So it's hard, not hard, but I think it's great that being in such like a high profile restaurant organization, you still have the freedom to do all that. Whereas usually, like if you're part of a big hospitality group, like you have an accounting team, you have a marketing team, you have a HR team, and you don't get that exposure. But you got it at Francescana and Torno Subito.
Absolutely. This is actually a question that many people ask me, but it's a matter of choice in life. I choose to stay with Massimo. I choose to stay, even if when I started, I was dreaming to open my own restaurant. But I don't see much difference.
Okay.
I don't see much difference. Torno Subito in Miami is
It's your
100%
restaurant.
my restaurant.
Exactly.
I mean, there's no difference in this.
Amazing. And how many years did you stay in Francescana?
It was 2.5 years.
Okay. And I have to say, take a break here because you're talking about Francescana, and the only thing that comes to my mind is a dish that I think Vince did with is a pasta, like a spaghetti with raw scampi. So we're talking here, and like 5% of my brain is just thinking of that.
That's delicious,
that pasta
right?
from Francescana. Amazing. And the mortadella, the salumeria. I mean, everything's great about that place. So, okay, after Francescana came the opportunity to open Torno Subito in Dubai, no?
Yeah, after Francescana, before Dubai, I helped Karime to open Gucci Osteria in Florence, the first
Okay.
Gucci
That's
Osteria.
true.
I was there for 3 months, helping her and supporting, in an opening that is always challenging.
Yes, and to
And-
give some context, Karime, she's Mexican, but she worked many years with Virgilio Martinez in Central in Peru, and she has a beautiful story. I hope we can bring them someday today
Yeah.
to share that story, because she moved to Italy for love, basically, to be together with Taka, who was a
Taka.
sous-chef at Osteria, and now together they run.
They're married, they have a beautiful
Yeah,
daughter, and they
yes.
cook together in Florence.
Exactly. That's a beautiful story. So sorry for the parenthesis.
And then I remember I was in Francescana and Massimo came and said, Bernie, are you ready? We open our first restaurant out from Italy. We go to Dubai. I said, of course. And then, the project was Torno Subito, which means I'll be back soon.
Yes.
And it was like a point of view on Italian gastronomy, different from Francescana, different from Francescana, something new. We want to talk about Italy at its best, visiting recipe from north to south, inspired by the Dolce Vita, inspired by the 60s, the 70s. In Dubai was the Riviera, the place in which Massimo was spending his vacation when he was a child with family and friends. Rimini, Fellini, the music, the design,
Yes.
the best during the economic boom in Italy during that years. And we brought to
music of
Dubai
that,
the music.
yes.
And we brought there to Dubai.
And I always I love where the came Torno Subito originated, which is with Catalan, the Italian artist, who's, for those of you who might remember him for the banana, the Tate banana in Art Basel. And the story that Massimo mentioned is when he did a show in Bologna. And
In New York. It was
I was in New York.
an art exposition in New York.
Okay.
He invited all the galleries, all the journalists for this big exposition. Everyone arrived there, and the door was closed. There was a signage that is Torno Subito.
Which is, I'll be right back.
I'll be right back, but it's something really common in Italy, especially in the small town. Summertime, maybe in the afternoon, you want to go to the barber. You go there and you find Torno Subito, but you don't know if it's going to be 5 minutes or 5 hours. So it's about that. I'll be right back. Torno Subito, also not to focus too much on Massimo's, because
Exactly.
Massimo today can be in Miami.
Yeah.
Tomorrow is in Modena, and right now probably is in Tokyo, which is in
but
Tokyo.
Who's here? Bernardo.
Bernardo is
Exactly.
here. Bernardo is here. It's going to be here.
Great. And how was... I have mixed feelings with Dubai. I know there's so many things going on there. Very a lot of modern architecture. It's a city that was built in 20 years. So you're coming from this beautiful small town from Emilia Romagna with a lot of soul and personality and 400-year-old buildings, and then suddenly you are in this new city with skyscrapers and I don't know, AC everywhere. How was, in terms of, let's forget about restaurant and work now, from a personal perspective, how was that transition? How did you feel?
So, was not that hard for me. Probably even because by myself and also with Massimo, we travel a lot, visiting new places. So I'm used to travel.
Okay.
I'm used to travel. And then, when you move at 27 years old in a new city with responsibility to open a restaurant for Massimo Bottura, I was in love with the restaurant. I'm in love with my job. So everything around looks beautiful. Maybe more than reality. I was in love with Dubai at the beginning, maybe more than the city really deserved. But probably was because the love I had for the restaurant.
And it was I understand it was your mood, your choice to take it that way, and you were happy for opening that restaurant, so you looked at different fresh eyes to everything else, I guess, no?
Yeah, I mean, I left a small restaurant with big dreams that is Francescana with 12 tables, with all the possible awards, and to go in a city where the gastronomic history was not that big, not that important, where the restaurant was basically a sort of copy-paste of successful venue all around the world, which there's nothing wrong, but it's the reality. We were kind of one of the first homegrown restaurant over there, going to Dubai to develop a concept from
and
from
not
zero,
just copy paste something
from zero.
existent.
So that for me was the dream, was the reason. I didn't care then. There's no probably that kind of guide or that kind of award in Dubai. For me, was the challenge to build from zero a concept, to challenge myself, creating a team, and start to express myself.
But eventually, the Michelin guide came to Dubai and you got awarded a star. But when you opened, there wasn't even a Michelin.
That was incredible. After 2 years I was there, I remember I started to get out the news. Michelin is coming to Dubai, and then I was not really thinking about that because we were. At the end, a high volume restaurant with 120 seats. Of course, we had the tasting menu, the service, the style, but I kept it on the side, and when it happened, was the most incredible thing.
And how was the approach of the menu? Because again, it wasn't Osteria Francescana, but it wasn't Franceschetta either. It was a new concept from scratch. So how was the thought process to create a menu for an Italian restaurant in Dubai with this history behind it, but then you had full freedom to do the menu, no?
Yeah, I mean, I'm thankful to Massimo because I think the biggest quality is that he trusts all his chef and he gives freedom to express ourselves. I arrived to Dubai with an idea of what to do, but then we built it and changed based on the city and experiencing what the people were asking, Even if you are an Italian chef working for Massimo Bottura, it can happen that people start to ask you recipes that are not really Italian.
Okay.
But they think are Italian. So,
and that's valid because it's their perception of what is Italian cuisine in their context, in their social and cultural context, no?
Yeah, and then you are on a sliding moment.
Yeah.
I mean, you need to decide if you want to do like the most of the Italian chef with close the door and say, this is not Italian,
Yeah.
get out of my restaurant, or
Embrace it.
try to please the guest.
Yeah.
And probably try to understand we are not saving the world. We want to give to our guests the best time.
Mm-hmm.
So I was starting, to think how to find a way to make this recipe in an ironic way.
Yes. Because also, and again, there's no right or wrong. Even like sometimes you present your menu or your food, and let's say, for example, with the pasta al dente, people say, okay, pasta, you have to eat it al dente, no? And Italians eat their pasta al dente. For some people that they are not used to eat pasta al dente because they've been eating overcooked or fully cooked pasta for 30 years, and one day you tell them, no, what you've been doing is wrong. You have to eat the pasta that way. I think you need to find like a balance or a way to bring those.
You cook for your
Cultures
guests.
together,
You don't
no?
cook for yourself.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And in terms of sourcing, because we're going to talk now about Torno Subito Miami later, but in terms of sourcing, correct me if I'm wrong, there's not much like local produce in Dubai, but on the other hand, you pick the phone and you have mozzarella from Napoli fresh like the next day. How was that process of sourcing? Like when you created the menu, did you have access to everything that you wanted through local vendors? Was there anything local? How was it?
So I was very worried
Mhm.
before moving to Dubai, but then when I arrived there, I realized that in Dubai there's literally everything, and the best of everything.
Okay.
Because probably people pay more, so they were flying every single kind of meat, dairy, fish product. So you don't have any problem in Dubai. You just need to choose what to buy.
Okay.
That's not the most exciting things, because if you think that people fly aromatic herbs from Holland to Dubai, this is
because-
crazy.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there are some local production, and in the year, I was there for years, but compared to when I arrived and when I left, the city and the gastronomic sign, it changed a lot.
Okay.
So
For
we-
the better.
yeah, we started to work with a guy that was making the mozzarella in
Nice.
Dubai, with the farmer, with the local production that they were starting to.
Okay, interesting.
To
Yeah, and I
grow.
guess with, again, in, I don't know, 20 years or 15 years, like all these restaurants and chefs that came to Dubai, they also lifted the ecosystem behind them, because all those chefs they start asking for specific herbs or local proteins and so on. So that somehow also helps the ecosystem
Absolutely.
grow, no? And do you remember when you got the call or the email with the word Miami in it?
So I remember I was with Massimo in Dubai during COVID, and two guys, Mr. Daniel and Andrea, arrived to present the idea of bringing Torno Subito to Miami. And we loved the idea since the beginning.
Yeah.
We felt that the structure in Dubai was ready to me to live and open the second location. Now we have 3. But yeah, the restaurant in Dubai and in Miami, they're different.
Yeah,
One
we're
is on
gonna
the
talk
beach.
about that. Yeah, no, it's and I like the fact that each one has its own personality, and I mean we were involved through Glutonomy, taking inspiration from Torno Subito Dubai to do the adaptation of Torno Subito Miami, but also I understand that was a different approach, because for good or bad, the space in Miami, we know permits and how slow things are. The opening took more time than expected, but regardless of that, you were here building those connections with local producers, testing different sources, meats, cheeses, vegetables, and for good or bad, you had enough time to build those connections and learn about what Miami has to offer. You connected with the local community. So it was a different approach because in Dubai, you pick up the phone, at least at the beginning, you pick up the phone and you have prosciutto San Daniele in your door the next day. But here I understand you took a different approach. We're going to talk about the menu later, but in terms of sourcing and working with all the sourcing, how was that process?
So, yeah, being in a project that is having a bit of delay because of construction and permit is a bit of struggle for someone that loves the adrenaline of the everyday service. But now I thank for the time that I had arriving in Miami. Yes, knowing the city, the restaurant and the people, but most important, the local production.
Mm-hmm.
Even before coming here, some people were telling me, Florida, that's not much. That's false. That's not true. I had the chance to meet an Italian family that is importing from North Florida every day the milk to make beautiful mozzarella cheese, burrata, stracciatella, and some local small farm that make beautiful product, a local wagyu. There's a lot of things, and thanks to that time I was able now to say we are doing Italian food with Florida ingredient.
Nice. And how like what percentage of ingredients do you think come more or less? You don't need to give an exact number.
I'm trying to use as much as I can.
Nice.
100% local ingredient. Of course, balsamic vinegar, that Parmigiano, the olive oil, that flour to make that pasta. Going back to the question about cooking time and texture of pasta, we're doing all the pasta. Of course, the fresh, but also the dry one. We have the machines to make the dry one, and I balance a recipe. And the texture of the new pasta makes everyone happy.
Nice.
So it's
and
incredible.
Also you have a real nonna doing the tortellini one by hand. Tell me a little bit more about that.
That's the magic we have in our kitchen. And Massimo told to tell to everyone, in every restaurant we have our tortellini with the same recipe, with the same Parmigiano, which are delicious everywhere. But there's something magic in Miami. We have a nonna Italian with his husband that they move in Florida because they have two kids here. And being Miami expensive, having there still in very great energy, we connect. And I remember I told her, to make fresh pasta. Of course, it's 50 years I'm doing fresh pasta. I say,
better than you.
Okay. Do you want to work with us? Yes, but we are a package. There's also my husband. I said, okay, come in the kitchen. But now having these two, they're 75 years old, and having them in the kitchen make our kitchen a better place. Because even the young guy, a bit arrogant and angry, there's a sign of respect for everyone.
And it's inspiring also to see the level of craftsmanship in making those tortellini by hand.
They are amazing.
And you have Giulio doing the fresh pastas too, no?
Giulio is one of the two sous-chefs. He moved from Modena. He was 10 years in Francescana. He was the responsible of the prep kitchen. So he was the one managing all the prep every day for both Francescana and all the event around the world, making sure that every station has the perfect food every day for every service. And he's managing more the production here, the preparation, the ordering, and teaching the guy how we cook.
Nice.
And there is the other sous chef that is Jonathan, which he was 10 years working with my friend Diego Oca as a sous chef in Lamar, and he's very focused and talented in managing. So he helped me with every single aspect of managing the restaurant.
And let's talk about the menu. And I'm gonna take a little not break, but a parenthesis on that story, because there's like Italian American culture is a thing. There's Italian American restaurants. There's an Italian American cuisine. And I think it's beautiful that the Italian diaspora in the U.S. has left such a strong identity, no? And I don't want to criticize or anything, but you see sometimes like hardcore, like very, yeah, like traditional Italians who probably criticize like pasta with meatballs or fettuccine alfredo or pineapple on pizza and everything. And again, I don't like pineapple on pizza. Oh, I think meatballs and pasta is amazing. I don't like fettuccine alfredo either, but that's my personal taste. But again, it's a cultural manifestation of a diaspora and how the Italian migration adapted to this country, no? Like it or love it, it's there. And I believe when you came to the US, when you came to Miami, instead of saying, "Oh, that's not Italian, I'm Italian, I was born and raised in Rome, and this is how we do things," I think you opened your mind to that and embraced it. But I want to hear from you, how was that process and how much courage and balls takes to have in your menu like a version of Alfredo or pineapple. So I think it takes balls to do that. But how was your approach? Because the easy way is, this is an Italian restaurant and this is how we do things, no? And you didn't do that. You did the opposite.
Yeah, but this is too easy. So I want to start thinking that reducing everything on the fight on pizza with pineapple is too easy, because it's a process that took probably 150 years.
Yeah.
You know, when after the First World War, Italians were leaving the country with nothing in their hands, finding a new life, the perspective of a new life, of a better life. And this is, all these Italian American recipe are the result of people that wanted to find a new life, a scope, and a second chance, probably.
Yeah.
So it's something really, really, really serious. In Italy, people from one town to the other, maybe 5 kilometers away, they fight for what's the original recipe or which grandma is doing the best food. And we want to take this kind of stories of people really serious, but also not taking too serious ourselves when we talk about food, when we talk about what you like, what I like. So I'm a guest in Miami. I came here. If there are a lot of Italian-American recipe, I don't want to be part of the fight and tell what's wrong and what's right, because there's no wrong and no right.
Exactly.
I want to find my way to play around, to be ironic, and give you my idea of. We have a recipe called colpa d'Alfredo. That means Alfredo's fault, which colpa d'Alfredo actually is a name of a song from an Italian artist called Vasco Rossi. And this is my way to elevate and give a second life, a second chance to this messy fettuccine alfredo. It's a tagliatelle that is cooked in a extraction of Parmigiano, porcini mushroom, and black truffle. So it's a luxury alfredo with a second life.
And how do you incorporate pineapple? I think you do a mostarda, or
we don't have right now, but I did in the past. We like to be a little bit provocative, not just provocative, but to show people that you can put pineapple on pizza.
Yeah,
I give you a good news: you can put pineapple on pizza. But how? For me, personal opinion, if you put you take from the can a sliced pineapple, you put on top of a pizza margherita, this is wrong. But I have a reason. It's not just a preconcept. It's wrong. It's putting acidity on top of acidity.
Okay.
It doesn't match. My palate doesn't recognize it. But if you take a white pizza baked with a fresh cheese, you make a smoked pineapple jam, you put a beautiful salumi, maybe a culatello or prosciutto on top, it's going to be delicious. Trust me.
I'm thinking about it, and I can almost taste it. I mean, and you're right, because there's now famous like pizza with pepperoni and honey, or spicy honey, and it's the same principle. So that makes total sense.
100%.
Yeah.
Always have doubt. Don't listen to many people are fighting. Find a way to put them together. And food, that's the scope of the food. So I'm gonna continue. Probably I'm gonna do the spaghetti meatball.
Let me know if
I'm
you,
gonna
if you
come
need
to
somebody
try.
to try it.
Yeah.
I can try it. Yeah, because at the end of the day, it's important to find your own identity and how you approach those challenges. And you mentioned that you are now, you're leading Torno Subito. Torno Subito, it's your restaurant. And you were under, under Massimo in Osteria and Francescana, surrounded by a super talented team of chefs. And I guess you receive a lot of mentorship from your peers, from Massimo, that made you the professional person that you are today. But now you are the big boy now in Torno Subito, Miami, and you have all those people looking after you, and you have to be not only a head chef, but you have to, as I mentioned, a leader, a motivator, a psychologist, all that. How did being under a team with like such a high level of professionalism and dedication and hard work, what did you learn there, and how do you translate that to your current team, where now you are the mentor, now you are the leader, and now you are the one who needs to pass that knowledge and that motivation to your team?
That's a big responsibility. That's a big responsibility. And the architect and the designer, they built a beautiful restaurant, which is fantastic in every single corner.
Yes.
Now what's make the difference is the team, 100%. I'm the lucky one coming here, talking with you, or going and having the chance, to express myself with my voice. But behind the team is the most important thing. Again, another thing, when I came here, they told me that finding staff is going to be very hard, very challenging. I can tell I work with the biggest amount of talent I ever had in my career.
Nice.
What I see in the kitchen now in Torno Subito here, it's incredible. I had people that were sous-chef that stepped back to be a chef de partie in our restaurant to be part of Torno Subito.
Amazing.
I see people that want to work with me, want to work with us. And this is the most exciting thing in the world. The real challenge, and I think the next step for Miami, it's on the floor.
Okay.
I want to see the same passion I see in the kitchen on the floor. That's for me what every single people from the industry need to push
100%.
to create a motivation, a desire to be a waiter, to be a floor manager, to welcome people, because it's still something missing.
And it needs, I think, the difference, again, this is from the, I'm an insider, but also I don't operate a restaurant. But when you see chefs, like chefs is a career. Like people take being a chef, being a cook as a career where you grow, and like it's not something like, oh, I'm going to do this. People might do it for a year as a gig or something, but most people that are in the kitchen, they have that as a career.
It's a dream.
Yeah. Whereas in the front of the house, maybe it's, I'm going to be 2 years in Miami, 2 years in New York. I'm going to wait tables just to get my way and get
reason
some
to
money.
pay the bill.
Yeah.
But that's much more than this. Dreaming to become a big sommelier,
Absolutely.
a good maître. That's an amazing job.
And I think it's a challenge not only for you, it's like they're opening all these restaurants in Miami, some better than others. But one thing that I worry about even as a diner is like, where's all the people that are gonna be at a level that is needed working on all those restaurants? And I think that's a challenge. I don't know if more people are moving to Miami or like restaurants are recruiting from other industries, but I think that's something that we need to watch closely as an industry.
Look, I love the service in our restaurant here, even because we spend a lot of time with the training.
Mm-hmm.
Our restaurant is all about the storytelling and explaining how we are doing things
Yes.
like that. And we have an amazing service, don't get me wrong. But I see in the waiter with a lot of experience that is going to be kind of hard to make a twist in them.
Okay.
On the other hand, I see a lot of young guys which probably less experience. They can make more mistakes, but they have the dream. I have few guys that started as a food runner and then promoted as assistant, and now they're becoming captain.
Nice.
And those are the future of the service.
Nice. So I want you to share a story you shared in Lengua earlier this year. You were in a panel with Mattia, who's another amazing guy from the team.
He's coming in February. We're gonna cook together for Sobi.
Oh, amazing. He's great. He's in Osteria Gucci in Los Angeles. So you were part of a panel here with Carla Hoyos too. We were talking about mentorship, not only from the mentor side, which was in this case Massimo and Jose Andres with Carla, but how you are mentors to others. You shared a beautiful story that happened to you in Dubai with one of your staff who, I mean, why don't you tell that story? You'll say it better than me.
Yeah, because we are talking about mentorship,
Yes.
and that panel was amazing. And thanks again. My biggest goal is to leave a small mark on people's life, not just showing them a technique or explaining how to execute a recipe, but really understand them. We spend a lot of time together. We need to know each other. About the story was like, it was the first time I was telling. It was very personal and deep, because it's probably one of the most exciting and nice thing happen on me. It was a dishwasher that he was promoted as a commis, and from commis to demi-chef to chef de partie, and then I left to come in here in Miami. One day he called me that he became dead. I said, "Congratulations, Willie. This is fantastic. What's his name?" His name is Bernardo. Come on, that's too much. Still too much. I don't deserve it.
Nice. And now, so there's a little kid called Bernardo running around because of his experience working with you. Then I think that's
magic.
beautiful.
That's magic.
That's beautiful. And how's your life in Miami right now? You've been here a couple of years now?
Almost 1.5.
1.5 years. How's your life in Miami? How did you adapt to the city? I think Miami is in an amazing moment. You came in a very exciting time. I moved here almost like 10 years ago, and there wasn't that many exciting options to go out, or maybe now there's too many. I don't know, but how's your life in Miami from a personal perspective? And I know there was a big change, because before opening you were like doing office work and working with farmers and recruiting and everything, and now you are basically 100% focused on Torno Subito. You're in the kitchen every day, so taking of course that part that you are like fully at Torno Subito. How was your life in Miami coming from Dubai?
So, I'm from Rome. That is a big city. When I moved to Modena, I was working in the restaurant of my dream, but I never felt Modena can be the city I'm going to live forever. It same happened to Dubai. I never really 100% felt home. Yes, I like the place. I met a lot of friends. It was an incredible experience for my career, but I never really felt home. And last year I went for Christmas in Rome. And when I came back, I think it was December 29th, I opened the door of my apartment and I felt home. So I like Miami. I'm feeling home here. I think it's really important. People are never really 100% happy, because this is the nature of people.
Yeah.
But I need to stop myself a little bit and understand I'm having the job of my dream. I live in a great place. I work with great people.
Yes.
What else I need?
And the thing that people complain most about Miami, which is the heat in the summer, you were already used to that in
Yeah,
Dubai.
everyone.
So
you
even,
going to Miami summer is gonna be terrible
So-
for you. Guys, I was 4 years in Dubai. I'm ready.
so
My
even
skin is ready for
the
everything.
bad part of Miami for you
No, it was not that bad. It was not that bad. Don't trust them.
great. There's a big philosophy of food waste in all the Francescana, I would say, hospitality group or Francescana family. There's a book called Bread is Gold, where Massimo talks about food waste, and there was this amazing project at Refettorio, started in Milan, now it's Rio, New York, San Francisco, Paris, London, you name it, no? And do you think about that when you are working on the menu? What's your approach to food waste, especially in a city of Miami where, I don't know, recycling is probably not the first priority, or the systems are not set for a good recycling system, but even how you buy your product, how you use. I know you have a dish called Papa Pomodoro that addresses that. How's your approach to food waste at the restaurant?
Yeah, when we describe our approach, that's for sure the ironic way which we were talking about. There's the tradition in evolution, taking traditional recipe, making a modern way, of course. But food waste is probably the most important.
Yeah.
You mentioned the papal pomodoro, which is a welcome dish that is always there, because in an Italian restaurant there is every day a lot of bread that you don't sell. You must be ready to 20 people that want to walk in. You must keep bread for everyone. So all the bread that we don't sell, the day after we mix with tomato, basil, a little bit of olive oil, and on top we make a foam using the Parmigiano Reggiano crust. So the outside part of the Parmigiano wheel, we crush it, we make infusion with milk, and we make this foamy Parmigiano crust
Nice.
on top of the bread from yesterday. And it's all about this. I didn't invent nothing. This is for us is part of our DNA. And beside this, the time I had in Miami make me try to find a company that was supporting me also in the extra organic waste that I have. So there is a company called Compost for Life, which we are donating all the extra vegetable that we are not able to use, the shell of the eggs, and they are turning this into compost to grow vegetables to give to people in need.
Oh, nice.
This is a fantastic initiative. I know even other restaurants are starting to do that, and this company just opened another corner of the activity, which is called Glass for Life. So all the glass, all the bottle of water, a bottle of wine, we give to them. They turn it into powder that becomes sand, and they give to the Florida to refill the coast and the beaches. So this is a fantastic thing that which we are very proud.
Interesting. But do you get to go often to Rome or to Italy? You mentioned you were there for Christmas, no? Oh.
Yeah, last year, I think the restaurant still not fully open. I decided, when I was in Dubai, the restaurant was very busy in Christmas. So for me, having, Christmas time with my family was kind of magic. Now we're starting the season, so I'm planning, to focus here in Miami. But we have event with Modena that could be in Milan, in Rome. So at the end, I come by.
And you still miss, because you mentioned something, and this is happened to us in Emilia Romagna with the tortellini. Like Modena from Reggio Emilia is like 25-minute drive, no? And we were having tortellini in Reggio Emilia, and the guy, I asked if it had prosciutto or something like that. Like, no, this is how they do it in Modena. Here we don't do it that way.
Yeah.
And it's like, as you mentioned, 5 kilometers, and it's changes.
All about that.
Yeah. But I was gonna ask you, because again, regional cuisines in Italy, it's probably more present than in other countries. And what's your favorite Italian region for food? Like Emilia Romagna is super rich, but you're from Rome. Any restaurants that you like recommend or you go back to in Rome when you're there, like are like close to your heart? Do you think they represent Roman cuisine?
I always have on my notes the complete list because
Uh-huh.
every day in the restaurant I like to talk with our guests and they ask me recommendation for restaurant in Rome, and I have my list which is a mix of very easygoing trattoria, modern bistro, or Michelin star kind of fine dining restaurant.
Okay.
I'm gonna share with you.
Perfect. And I know, I mean, Roscioli, which is like super famous, they just opened in New York.
In New York, yeah.
And like, what is that the type of restaurant that you enjoy when you go to?
Actually, it's the
to Rome?
first on my list, Roscioli,
really? Ah.
because it's the perfect way if you are going in Rome for a first time or coming back after a long time. You
Okay.
find the perfect food, super consistent, traditional, made with super ingredient, and they have a fantastic, gastronomic display with all the cheeses. And
it's an
a
amazing
fantastic place in the heart of Rome.
It's an amazing place. And just like we were talking about the not competition, but all the arguments between all the regions in Italy who has the best food, we need to talk about calcio or football or soccer, you name it. No, you have, and this is just to give some background. I grew up in Venezuela. We had like the worst team in the world in football. I hope this year.
Getting better,
It's
getting much
better.
better.
It's getting better, but we still have a long way to go. So, everybody who's a soccer fan, a football fan in Venezuela, they cheer like national teams. They either cheer like Italy or Spain if they are from the Italian or Spanish descendants, or Brazil, Argentina, or Germany because you need to root for someone. And you have in Venezuela like the biggest fans of Real Madrid, Barcelona, Milan, whatever. And since I was a kid, I became a Juventus fan because I loved
Wrong
France.
choice.
I love France and Michel Platini. And Michel
Of
Platini
course.
was playing for Juventus.
That's a good reason.
So I became a Juventus fan. But I love how, probably as much as food or more than food, how that's part of the Italian DNA, no? But you grew up in Rome and you are, I mean, if you're in Rome, you're either Lazio or Roma, no? And you are Roma, no?
Yes, correct.
And how's it going these days?
Every 4, 5, 6 years we are changing property. Now we manage by the American property, Mr. Fredkin, which is investing a lot of money.
Okay.
Still I see a big project with not the right result. So we are still under construction, let's say.
And Rossi is still the manager. No,
Let's not talk about this because Daniel is my idol, and we are also kind of friend. We text, and he recently left.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
It hurts.
Yeah, but we'll talk. We'll keep talking about it later. And we have also a nice anecdote about football that I'm gonna share. I think I haven't shared it, but it's actually written in the Bread is Gold book. When we were going to, I think it was Refettorio in Milan, we were first at Osteria Francescana. We were having dinner. I remember Enrique Olvera was there, Sasha, Rodolfo Guzman from Chile. We had an amazing dinner, and we were joking the whole dinner that we would be playing football, no? And the night went on. We were like drinking, and like we did a little party after the dinner. And like at 2 a.m., I think you had like 2 little goals that you used during the day to kick the ball and everything. And we're like, okay, let's go play. So we took those
In Piazza Grande.
Piazza Grande in Modena. That was like one of the most special
greatest memory,
nights ever. So we were there in the Piazza Grande in Modena with the 2 goals, and we were playing Italy against rest of the world, no? And I remember you kicked our asses. One, you were playing every day theirs, and we were like out of shape. But also, Enrique Olvera was our goalkeeper, so I think you had it a little bit easier. But no, and I say this because it was a beautiful moment that, and we always say that, and that food brings people together, the table brings people together, and that was a great connection that we did. How we took that camaraderie, sorry, and friendship and passion to even like do a little soccer
100%.
match.
And,
No?
and think how important became Modena for you. You decide to get married there.
Exactly. That was a game changer. It was many connections. My Paola's family from father's side is Italian, so we had that connection, and we were there in Modena. I mean, it's a beautiful area, as you mentioned. The food is great there, and it's not like a big city like, I don't know, Milan or Rome or anything. Like, you have those little towns where there's a lot of history, a lot of
But
heritage.
thanks to the gastronomic movement, thanks to Massimo, it became a destination of incredible amount of tourism. And yes, it's small, but
Yeah.
around you have the Ferrari, the Maserati. You can travel and see how they make the Parmigiano or the balsamic vinegar, and it's an incredible land.
Anyone who goes to Italy needs to stop by that region. There's Modena is very close from Bologna. It's like 25 minutes by
Correct.
train, and Bologna has also like some of the best food. And for those of you who don't know, like, the ragu is from Bologna. In Venezuela, they call it salsa bolognese. No?
Yes, of course,
yeah.
of course.
So it's very rich. One of my favorite things in the world is from there, which is mortadella. So every time I go there,
So good.
it's like I almost like have like heart attack level of mortadella consumption. Like, I say, okay, I need to stop now. But it's amazing. It's amazing. Bueno, Bernardo, it was a great pleasure to
Thank
have
you.
here.
It was
I don't know if you want to
amazing.
share anything else we didn't talk about. Feel free to.
What I want to
share.
share for all the people that came to visit Torno Subito in Miami, I wanna thank you, and for the one that still didn't have the chance, please come. We just had the new tasting menu. Now we have 2 tasting menus.
Nice.
We have Massimo coming in November, organizing event for Art Basel for the food week
Yeah.
in February.
And we didn't talk about it, but and I know it just opened and it's been like raining a lot and everything, but when the weather gets better, it's one of the few,
Rooftop.
if not the only rooftop in downtown where you can be in a rooftop, but the view is amazing of all like the skyline of Miami. You can see a little bit of the port, so that's nice because I've been there a couple of times dining in the indoor. But when I go outdoor, I know it's gonna be like a beautiful, nice.
It's amazing, the
experience, no?
terrace. Now with the weather getting better, it's we are fully set up outside.
Amazing.
And it's amazing. In the heart of one of the oldest buildings
Yeah.
in Miami, in that rooftop, it's magic.
And we didn't talk about it, but the cocktails there are made by Dante in New York. No, so and I say this loosely, but I think it's important. Torno Subito is the first restaurant, I think, in the world that has a former #1 restaurant with a former #1 bar, according to World's 50 Best, together in a project. So yes, we have Torno Subito led by you from the Osteria Francescana team, and the cocktail menus from Dante, New York, who was #1 bar in the world like 3-4 years ago.
Yeah, no, the cocktail list they made it's amazing. Massimo, we decided to have them as a partner because they really understand. It's kind of similar philosophy to reinvent the Italian cocktail with an ironic approach, and it's the drink are fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll be there soon. So thanks for coming. And again, Torno Subito, Bernardo Paladini, for those of you who want to follow on Instagram or go see him. Thanks a lot for listening again. Remember, we are on YouTube. Remember to subscribe and like us on all social media. We're on TikTok. We are on Instagram. All the listening platforms. So again, thanks a lot for your support, and see you the next time. Bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Ciao.